Welcome, everyone. Thank you for coming today to Embedding on Avenue. I'm going to share my screen and we'll get started. So today's session is Embedding on Avenue. I'm Paul Carter. Thank you very much for joining me today. I'd like to start by acknowledging that New Language Solutions is based in Ottawa, Ontario. We acknowledge that the head office is on the traditional unceded territory of the Algonquin Anishinaabe people. Beyond Ottawa, we have staff working in locations across Canada. New Language Solutions is grateful to have the opportunity to work as a guest in communities and territories across the country. And we honor the stewardship of the many Indigenous peoples who have resided on these lands since time immemorial. We make our acknowledgement as a sign of respect for all Indigenous peoples of Turtle Island, past and present. We accept the true impact of the past and the pain suffered by generations of Indigenous people. As an agency that works to support the integration of newcomers into Canadian society and cultures, we resolve to support activities that are inclusive of Indigenous peoples, and we will make our best efforts to address a history of injustice to First Nations, Métis, and Inuit peoples. Personally, I would like to respectfully acknowledge that I live and work within the ancestral and unceded traditional territory of the Hukuminim and Sinchosan-speaking people. Thank you very much again, everyone, for coming today. Little outline here for you. I will start with a brief introduction. I always like to talk about help with Avenue, all the places you can find it. Then we'll talk about embed codes and what they are, some embedding basics, how to use embed codes. And then most of this session is going to be a demonstration of each of the various things that I've chosen to show you how to embed today. At the end, there will be question and answer, so feel free to save your questions till the end or put them in the chat. I'm Paul Carter. Thank you very much for coming. That's a picture. You can imagine that I look that good today. Help with Avenue. The live help chat on learnit2teach.ca is one of the best places to go for help if you can't get assistance from one of your mentors. Access instructions for stage 2 and 3 on learnit2teach.ca and the Avenue More help files for the portfolio and more. And of course, always email your mentor if you need some help. But if you need some help in real time, Learn IT to Teach is a great place to go. And I'd like to show you today something that's a little bit new on the Avenue portal. When you first go to Avenue to log in or you have your classrooms, if you scroll down just a little bit there, there's all of these new additions here, the publications, all of the webinars are here, the podcasts as well. There's other courses and information about the bibliography. And then the Avenue support tab is there as well. And if you click on that, that takes you to the familiar learnit2teach.ca site. So there you can always get help from one of the mentors who's online or leave a message if we're not there at the moment. And we'll get back to you as quickly as we can. In addition to that, there's the support tab where you can find the Avenue webinars and all the support documents as well. So learnit2teach.ca is a great site for information about the project and support for teachers in the training. I'll just go back again, though, just to highlight that once more. This is a new thing and it's all here for you. So for example, if I click on the webinars, the bottom of the Avenue login page, you'll find all of the familiar webinars that maybe you've seen or you'd like to watch again. They can also be found on the YouTube channel. But here I'm still in my Avenue where I can go to my classroom with a binder. And this is a sample teacher account that I have. So I'm going to go over here on this other tab to the teacher only forum. Great place for information. And I always like to draw people's attention to the blocks on the right-hand side, the Avenue related links. We do have a frequently asked questions file, which is very helpful. And there's other links there, as well as the development progress if you'd like to see where things are going. And there's Avenue related webinars. So another place to find the webinars. And below that, teacher postings with Avenue related resources. So these are quite useful too. Anything that teachers have posted that have resources attached are listed here for you. There's also some links down below, lots of interesting things here for you to find. But remember too that you can search the Avenue Teacher Only forum and find information if you have a question about something. It may have been asked already, so hopefully you can find the information, and if not, you can always add a new discussion topic and ask your question there, and look for help from other teachers or mentors across the country. So that's Help with Avenue, lots of great information on those two sites. Okay, embed codes, that's what we're here to talk about today. I've written this here as a sort of summary. Embed codes are an exciting way to add new resources to your course while keeping learners grounded on Avenue. That's the key here. I really advocate for keeping your students in Avenue so they don't have to navigate outside the course as much as possible. It's not always possible, but embed codes are another way that we can help learners stay grounded in the course, view the resources that we want them to see, but not leave the site of Avenue and stay within the context with their breadcrumb trail and the navigation drawer and all the things that help them to move around. So this is a really useful way to do different things with lots of resources that are out there. And as I say here, once you know where to find them, embed codes, and where to put them, using embed codes is as simple as copy and paste. And it's kind of an interesting session today. You're going to see me copying and pasting a lot. I'm not going to use my keyboard very much. So it's a nice way to do something that isn't too time consuming either when you're doing this in your course. So here's an example of a YouTube embed code, just kind of what they look like. It looks like a lot of gobbledygook. This is HTML code, which tells a browser how to display certain things. This is always going on in the background in a Word document or on a web page, but it's what we don't see. And today I'm going to show you how to find it and where to put it. And you don't need to understand that much what's going on in the embed code, just that you can copy and paste it and sort of magical things happen. So I'm going to go on to the next screen here, and this is embedding basics on Avenue. So what you see there, I'm going to demonstrate in just a moment, but this is a topic section summary in my course. And what I've done is I've clicked on the expand the toolbar button, and then I've toggled the HTML view, and then we find these kind of gobbledygook codes, and this is where you would paste that code in to display that video right there in the topic section summary. So I'm going to do that in a moment, but before I do that, I'd like to say that anywhere in your course where you have the editing toolbar, you can use embed codes. So we're going to see blocks today, we're going to see pages, we're going to see different activity types like assignment, wiki, forum is going to be shown today. But anywhere in your course where there's an editing toolbar, you can put an embed code and display something right there in the course. So just keep that in mind that what I show you today isn't limited to the activity types you see, but rather you can do this anywhere where you have this. So what I'm going to do now is go into my course. And I'd just like to kind of show you the setup for what I'm using today. This is Firefox, and in this browser, I have my course open as a teacher. So you'll see there the Turn Editing On button. I also have a Microsoft Edge browser open, and there I'm logged in as a sample student, Maria Guptas. I like to do this with a sample student in a different browser so that whenever I make changes, I can just hit refresh on the other browser where the student is logged in to see my changes. So I'll be bouncing around a little bit here between my teacher course and my student course. So I'm going to scroll down now, and you can see down below here, well, a few things first. Sorry, I always like to do this at the start. I forgot. Avenue Help. These are great blocks. You probably already have it in your course, but just to make you aware, we also now have Avenue Beginner Help for lower levels. So if you haven't seen the new Avenue Beginner Help block, much better videos for lower level learners to help them with your course. So let your mentor know if you'd like to know how to get a hold of that block. And as I scroll down my course here, you'll see the calendar, the accessibility block, and this weather in the Southern Gulf Islands. This block is embedded, and I'm going to show you how to do that today. Below that, the Gastown Steam Clock. This is an embedded Google map. So that's something that's in my course as well. You'll see other things as we go out throughout the session, but I just wanted to highlight those for you on the side. So here we are in the topic section, embedding on Avenue. I have here a video for the topic section summary, embedding a video on Avenue, and it's a link. And you might want your students to see this video, and they could click on this link, which is going to open a new tab and take them out of the course. And now they're on YouTube rather than in the course. So what I'm going to show you today is how to get this and embed it right into the main course page there. So when this video opens, and you'll see it's embedding a video in an Avenue course. So this is kind of fun, sort of a double meaning here. Below the video, you'll find the share button. And when you click on the share button, most of us just click copy right away, and we get that URL or the web link for the video. But up above there, there's lots of options on how to share, and one of them is embed. So when I click on embed here, it's going to change my view, and you'll see the YouTube embed video code appears. If I want, I can click on this checkbox and say where I want the video to start, and that will change the code. But for today's purposes, all I want is this embed code. So I'm just going to click on copy here. Now that's been copied to my clipboard, and I can go back into my course and use it. I'm going to close that, and I'm going to close this tab, and we'll be back in the course. Now, with anything on Avenue, before you can do any editing, we have to turn editing on. So I'm going to turn editing on in the course, and this is going to turn on all the editing functions. I'll scroll down below back to that section there. And it's kind of boring, right? It's all text. Embedding on Avenue, we've got these text-based URLs, text-based file resources. There's no color, there's no context. So I'm going to click on editing for the topic section summary, and I'm going to open that up. And here in the topic section summary, just like we saw in the screenshot a moment ago, we have the summary area where we could put text, we could put a picture, we could put an audio recorder if we wanted to click on the microphone button. But if you click on the arrow here, you can expand and see more options in the toolbar. Once I've done that, I can then click on the HTML toggle button. And this is going to change the view of the editor, and you'll see that what looks like a blank page actually has code embedded there. So this is really interesting. There's already code here that we don't see. We just see a blank page. So this is how I wanted to sort of explain what HTML code is and how it works. I'm going to click here and I'm going to go to the next line down. And then I'm very simply going to use Control V on my keyboard to paste that embed code that we copied from YouTube. I paste it in there. So now it's pasted. If I'd like, I can click the HTML toggle button again, and I can preview what it looks like. And now you'll see that the video is actually there embedded in the summary topic section, the topic section summary. It's a decent size. I like that size. It's not bad. But if I toggle that HTML again, what I'd like to show you here is we can change this a little bit. What is that? Here in the code, you can see width equals 560 and height equals 315. If I'd like to, I can change those numbers. I could put in 250, and I could change 315 to, let's say, 150. And then I'll toggle this again, and you'll see that we now have a much smaller video. Now that's a little too small. I don't like that, but I did want to show you that you can edit things within the code itself, things like the width and the height of a video. So I'm going to put those back the way they were to 560, and I believe it was 315. And I'll toggle the HTML view again. The video is back to the size that's provided by YouTube. Now I'm going to scroll down and I'll click Save Changes. Now, when we come to that topic section in the course, rather than just a whole bunch of text for students to see and a link that takes them out of the course to watch the video, you'll see that the video is now displayed right there on the course page. And if I go over to my Edge browser where I have my sample student, I'll scroll down and you'll see here embedding on Avenue. When I click refresh, the changes that I've made will appear in my student view. And you'll see that without all the editing icons for the student, that looks pretty clean. So now they have a multimedia element, and if the student clicks on play, the video will play right there in the course page. So the students haven't left the course page. They can see the resource that you wanted them to see, and you've embedded it in the course. I'm going to come back. I've brushed over a few things already, so I'd like to go back to my PowerPoint. Embedding basics, that's pasting it into that area where we've toggled the HTML toggle button. We're going to look at file resources next, but one thing I wanted to share with you, if you'd like to know a little bit more about HTML, there's a great site, HTML Schools, and this is in the document I've made for you of useful links. So don't worry, I will share this with you at when I send out the YouTube video. You'll have a PDF of this presentation and all the screenshots and all the links that I share with you today. But I like this W3 Schools. It's a great place where you can go to learn the very, very basics of HTML coding if you'd like to know more about it. So that link is there for you. It takes you through very simple examples so you can see what the code looks like, and then you can try it yourself and see what the results are. So understanding what these codes are and what they're doing to the text and how they display on a web page This W3 school, it's nice, it's free. If you start with the basics and the introduction, it's not too hard to follow. If you'd like to learn more about all this HTML code stuff, this is a place you can go for that. So I'll close that now and return to my course. The next thing in the PowerPoint is file resources. So what we're going to talk about for the next two sections is some sort of automatic embedding that Moodle, the LMS that we use for Avenue, can do for you. File resources are a great example. PDF files can be automatically embedded in the course page. You'll see that a lot in the training that we do for Learn IT to Teach. Things to note, though, is that PowerPoints do not embed. They force the student to download them, and then the student has to have PowerPoint to be able to open it. So if you want to share a PowerPoint with your students, the easiest way is to convert it to a PDF and then upload that for them. Same thing again with Word docs. They don't embed in your course, so it'll automatically force them to download it, and then they have to have Word to be able to open it. So again, anytime that you're able to, if you can convert Word docs to PDF, you can then embed them in your course page. I'll show you what that looks like now. So I'll go back to my course page, and under File Resources, you'll see here the PDF file resource. If I click on that, what we're going to see is the PDF I want my students to see is embedded right in the course page. So they can read this, and this is about the weather block. So we're going to see that in a little bit, how to add that embed code for the weather block. So what this looks like, if I go back to that section, come down, and at the bottom of the topic section where I want the resource to be, there's the add an activity or a resource. So I'm going to click on that now. And for this one, I'm going to choose File. So when I choose Add a New File, the Add a New File page opens, and I'm going to put here weather doc, just to be quick. I could put a description with some instructions for my students if I wanted to. In the Select Files area, I've got this file saved on my computer, weather block. I'm going to drag and drop that in there. It's a PDF document. Now, most teachers just scroll down now and click on save, or save and return to the course. But what they're missing is the appearance. This is a very quick place where you can make a big change for your students. If I leave the appearance display setting on automatic, it's probably going to take the students out of the course and open this right in the same window. So students will have to navigate back to the course. If I click on the options here, there are a few options. In pop-up works great, pops up over the course, but the course is still there. New window is okay, it opens a new tab, and if students understand tabs, then that's all right, but my favorite is embed. So if I change the appearance display setting to embed, now I scroll down and I click save and display. You'll see that the PDF document is now displayed right in the course page, where students can still navigate with the breadcrumb trail and the navigation drawer over here. So they're still grounded in the course. I'll go back to that section now, embedding on Avenue, and scroll down, and I'd like to show you what happens with a Microsoft Word document. If you embed a PowerPoint or a Microsoft Word document and the student clicks on this, you'll see up here, it immediately forced the download. And if I have it set to embed, nothing will display. It can't display it, it forces the download. So not ideal for students. Better to convert it to a PDF if you can, and then share it with them that way. The same thing happens for a Microsoft Word document. So if I come down again, my apologies for all the scrolling, and I click on the Word document there, you'll see up in the corner, it's forced it to download, and now the student has to open it. I changed the setting to embed, but it doesn't display anything. It just forces that download. So if you can, changing it to a PDF is optional, but optimal for students to keep them grounded in the course, as we said before. So that's file resources. Now, again, sort of ways that a Moodle or LMS can automatically embed things for you is the same with URL resources. So if you're adding a web link for students, most teachers leave it in the automatic setting, which often opens it in the same window, and then students lose the course. So as you can see in this screenshot, you just copy and paste the URL like you usually would, but then down below in the appearance for display, again, we're going to choose embed. So I'm going to go back to my course now and show you what that looks like. If I scroll down a little bit here, you'll see the URL resources. So Parks Canada, this is a great website, lots of great resources. I would come here and click on this, Control C on my keyboard to copy that. And then I go back to my course and I can add an activity or resource. In this case, it's going to be a URL. So I'll scroll down below to the URL, click on URL. I'll give it a name here. I'll call it Parks, just to be quick. I paste in the URL. So remember, this is a URL code. No, it's a URL, a hyperlink, a link. It's not an embed code. I could put a description if I like, but I'm going to go to the appearance now, just like we did for the PDF. And we're going to change from automatic, which would open it in the same window and take learners out of the course, and we'll change it to embed. When I change it to embed and I save and display, you'll see that now the Parks Canada website is actually embedded in the course. It's right here in the course for students. They can use the website. They can click on links, go to different pages on the site, but all the while staying within their Avenue course, so they don't get lost and have to navigate their way back. Most websites, this works great. And we're going to take a look at another two examples to show you when it doesn't work great. I did the same thing in my course here with a Quizlet link. So I have a Quizlet. My Quizlet is here. I scroll down below the Quizlet. I'm sorry, I did that pretty quickly. This is Quizlet. If you use Quizlet and you have lots of them set up, this may be useful to you. I scroll down below the Quizlet and you'll see here, share. If I click on share, I can copy a link. So that's one way I can do that, and that's the way we're going to do it right now. I'm going to copy this link, which is a URL or a web link. But I'd also like to show you while we're here in Quizlet that if you click on the ... you'll also find here embed. So you can also click here to copy an embed code for this Quizlet and embed it just like we did that YouTube video. But for this first demonstration, I have Quizlet here. I've copied the URL. I've set up a URL resource just like Parks Canada. And when I open that URL resource, or students do, they'll find that that Quizlet is now embedded right there in the page. Now, one of the questions that came before the session was about grading things that you've embedded in your course. Quizlet is one of these things where the scores, the grades for the Quizlet themselves are going to be on the Quizlet site. So a teacher would have to return there to see the grades or the marks for these. The only reason to embed them is so that students can do them right here in the course page. So that's Quizlet. I'm going to go back to embedding on Avenue. If you wanted to embed something into an assignment or a quiz, though, then you would be able to grade the students' work based on what the resource was and what they did with it. The easiest example would be embedding a YouTube video in a quiz, and then students answer the questions about the video, and you can grade the students on that. So the resource that was embedded, the YouTube video, isn't necessarily what they're being graded on. But for something like Quizlet, when students do it, when it's embedded in the course, either as a URL or with the embed code, students' work or scores will be on Quizlet. So you would have to go there to see the results. Okay, I hope that made sense. The next example, I'll just go down below so you can see what it looks like. On Quizlet, if I had gone, and just to show you again, below my Quizlet, I click on the ... and then I can click embed, and that will show me the embed code that I can then copy. So I've copied that embed code, and I can embed that Quizlet in a page resource, which we're going to look at in a moment. But it looks a little nicer here, as you can see, and the students can do it right within the course page. Okay, I jumped a little ahead there. I just discovered this morning that Quizlet had both a URL and an embed code that I wasn't aware of before today. Okay, but now back to URL resources. Some websites, and Kahoot is one of them, as it says here, they block embed. So they block external embedding. They don't want you putting their site into yours. So I've got a Kahoot set up, and you can see that here. My Kahoot is here. I've copied my URL. I've set up a URL just like I did for Parks Canada or Quizlet. I'll show you in the settings so you can see what it looks like. It looks the same. Kahoot. Okay, Kahoot's there. I've put the link in. In the appearance, I've set it to embed. And then when I save and display, you'll see this message. Firefox can't open this page. And what's happening here is some websites, Kahoot is one of them, they block you from embedding. So when this happens, your best app option, as it says in the title, is to change to in pop-up. So if I edit the settings again, remember this is a URL resource. I go down below to the appearance. I'm going to change it from embed to in pop-up. Now I could set the pop-up width and height, but I won't worry about that now. I'm going to save and return to course. And just for the example again, now I'm going to return to my student, Maria. And I'm going to hit refresh again so that my changes take effect. I'll go down below here to the Kahoot. And notice when Maria clicks on Kahoot now, it opens in a pop-up over the course. So Maria is still grounded in the course. Maria can do the Kahoot here in the in pop-up. She can do that if you've got her set up with an account, so she can log in to do that. And the course is still here behind it. So I like in pop-up because students don't lose that visual of the course being there if they're working on a computer. New tab or new window is another good option as well. That works in a similar way, except students need to know how to navigate through tabs. So I'm going to close that pop-up now from Maria. Thank you, Maria. And I'll go back into my course. I'm going to go back to the PowerPoint now. So that was a URL resource for Parks Canada. And remember, I'm going to share this PDF with you, so you'll be able to see all these screenshots after the session. The Kahoot blocked example is here, showing you how to change it to in pop-up again. And then we're going to move on to page resources. And I kind of jumped there quickly because I wanted to show you that Quizlet, how it looks with an embed code. So now we're going to look at embed codes, how to get them and how you can display them. And another reminder, for this session, I'm using page resources to display these embed codes. You don't have to. Anywhere you have that editing toolbar, you can do what I'm about to do in the page resource. So you'll see later, we're going to look at an assignment, a quiz, a forum, and a wiki, all using embed codes as well. So in page resources, just for the examples, again, the Quizlet embed code I got from Quizlet, I copied the HTML, and I put it into my page resource. Kahoot, not so much. Language needs assessment in a Padlet. Many teachers use Padlets. Maybe you're one of them. So what I've got here is a Padlet that's now embedded in my course. So when a student clicks on this Padlet, a page opens in their course. They're grounded in the course, and the Padlet is embedded there for them. And you'll see if I go to Maria, my sample student, when Maria clicks on that Padlet in her course, she scrolls down below. Maria can actually add here. I'll just type addition and just put publish, just so you can see that right within the course page with the breadcrumb trail and the navigation bar over here with the navigation drawer, Maria can participate in this Padlet and see it in real time, changes that other students make or things that the teacher adds to the Padlet. So I'm going to go back to my teacher course now. And just to show you the process here for a page resource, if I scroll down to that topic section again, where I have everything for embedding on Avenue, I click on add an activity or a resource. This time, I'm going to select the page resource. So I'll scroll down to page. Remember, anywhere there's an editing toolbar, you can do this, but it's just handy to use pages for the webinar. So I'm going to put here Padlet example just quickly as my name. I could put a description if I want some instructions for the students or more information for what they're to do with this Padlet. Then I scroll down to content, where the page content is, and I have my editing toolbar. I'm going to expand that editing toolbar and click on the HTML toggle button. Again, we see this hidden code that maybe you didn't know was there, but you do now. I'm going to move to the second line. I could also delete that if I want, and we'll take a look at that in a moment. Now I go to Padlet itself. So this is Padlet. This is that Padlet set up on my Padlet page. And if I go over to the side menu here, you'll see a button that says Open Share Settings. When I click on Open Share Settings, you can copy a link, which you could use for a URL. But down below, you can find here Embed in your blog or on your website. So when I click there, this big, long, flowing gobbledygook of a HTML embed code appears. I'm not going to worry about what it says. I'm just going to click on copy. Copy to your clipboard. I'm going to go back over here to my course, and I'm going to paste that. Control V, and I've pasted all that there. Now, if I toggle the HTML again, you'll see that the Padlet appears. Now notice there is a line above the Padlet where the cursor is flashing. I'm going to toggle that HTML code again, and remember that hidden code that was here before we came along? I'm going to delete that. And I'll toggle again, and that line has now disappeared. Now, maybe a little line doesn't bother you, but I just wanted to show you that there is hidden code, and it does actually do something. Now, when I click on Save and Display, you'll see, just as Maria saw, my sample test student, that the Padlet is now embedded in the page, in the course, where students can participate in it. You can see the changes, they can see the changes, but they never leave their Avenue course. Okay, so that's Padlet in a page resource. And there you can see in the screenshot is the how-to again, so you'll have that after the session. The next one is embedding Google Forms. This is another good example, just like Quizlet, where the Google form, you can embed it in your Avenue course. Students can fill it in the Avenue course, but the answers, the responses, you'll have to go back to your Google form to find that. So for our example today, I'm just going to show you here in the embedding on Avenue. I did everything the same as I did for the Padlet. I added a page resource. I gave it a name. I copied and pasted the embed code, and I'll show you that in a moment. And when I come here to embed the Google form, you'll see in a page resource what it looks like. So here's the form, just like you'd see any Google form, but it's actually in the course page. So students don't need to go out of the course or navigate out, and they can submit it right here. Now, when they click submit, it will disappear. Their thing has been submitted. If they were to refresh the page, they could fill it in again because it will reappear for them, but they won't see their responses. And you, as the teacher, would have to go to your Google Forms, and here's the same form in my Google Forms, and find the responses there. Okay, so this is the Google form. I'm in Google Forms now, and if I want to embed this, I go up above to the send button. I click on send. You can send it via email. Here you can get a link, which you could use as a URL, and you could embed that too. Or you can click on the HTML tag symbol there, or the embed code. And again, I can change the width, the height if I want, or I can simply just click copy. I've now copied that embed code. I go back to my course, and in the settings, which I'll show you here, for the page resource, I go down below into the content area. I expand the toolbar, I toggle the HTML, and you'll see here, this is the embed code. I'll even delete that, and I'll paste it again because I just copied it. I'll toggle that HTML once more, and you'll see the form is still there. I'm going to save and return to course as the teacher, but now, as my student Maria, I'm going to go back over into my course, click on the Embedding on Avenue section. I'll come down to that section logged in as Maria the student, and I'm going to click on that Embed Google Form link. So you'll see what the student sees is exactly this. Let's say this is false. Short answer, I'll just put not long. Okay, test check boxes. Let's do 1, 2, 3. Okay, we can only choose 2 apparently. Test paragraph. This is too short. Test drop down. What's the options here? Ooh, let's take option 2. Linear scale. Let's say 4. Now I click submit as a student, and watch what happens. When the student clicks submit, everything just disappears. It all vanishes. It's gone. If they want to submit another response, they could click there. If they click here on the page again, it'll refresh and they'll have a new form for them there. So there's a couple ways they could do it again. Now, I go back over to my Firefox browser. I return to my form. I'm going to close that. And yep, there was 4 and now there are 5. So that response was just recorded, and we can see the information. Here's my short answer. What did I say? Not long. Okay, so not long was the answer that I just put in, and it is there in my Google Forms. So for the teacher, you have to return to Google Form to see the responses, but for the students, they don't have to leave the course to fill in the form. So that's kind of the beauty of that, is just keeping them grounded, as I said at the beginning. Okay, for the next example, we're going to look at embedding Google Documents. This was a question that came in before the session, so thank you for the question, and here's the answer. Yes, you can embed a Google document. A little interesting, though, it's a little bit different. So I'm going to click on here. You can see where I've already embedded this Google document. And I thought it would be fun. I would watch John Allen's session on ChatGPT. So I asked ChatGPT to write me a 500-word essay on embedding resources on a web page. So I can't take credit for this work. This was ChatGPT, but I just wanted some text so that I could show you what an embedded Google document would look like in your Avenue course. And this is sort of what it looks like, but not at first. So for this one, I'd like to do a demonstration to show you the small problem that came when I was trying to do this. I'll go back to the course section. I'm going to scroll down, add an activity or resource. Oh, I'm in the wrong section. Sorry, I don't want to make a mess of my course, so I'll scroll down again and I'll click on that here. Add an activity or resource. I'm going to add a page resource, and I'm going to put here Google Doc. Okay, description, I won't worry about that. The content is where I'm going to put it. So I'm going to expand the toolbar, toggle that. I'm going to get rid of that. Okay, now I'm going to go to Google Docs, where I have this Google document that I created. So this is Google Docs. If you have Google Docs, then you'll have documents like this. And when I get to Google Docs, I go to File. I come down below, and you'll see Share. I could share with others via email, but to get the embed code, you need to publish it to the web. Now, not really a big deal, because I don't think anyone's really looking for these things that we share with our students, but just to take note that if you want to embed a Google Doc, it does require that you publish it to the web. So I'm going to click on Publish to Web, and you'll see this here. There's a link, a URL, or if I prefer, I can get the embed code here. So what I'm going to do is I've got my embed code here. I'm going to copy that. I'll highlight the whole thing. Control C to copy it. So I Control C, I've copied that embed code. Close that now. Go back to my course, editing a page. I'm going to Control V to paste that embed code in. Now I'm going to toggle the HTML view. You'll see it's there. And when I save and display, you'll see, and you probably agree with me, that it's tiny. That's really small. So I thought to myself, well, that's no good. Is there a way to change the size? So I go back to Edit Settings. Okay. And in the Edit Settings, in the content here, I expanded the toolbar, and I was looking for width or height. And I didn't see anything. There was no width or height. There's nothing that I can change in this embed code. So I had the idea, and it actually worked. I went back to a YouTube video and I borrowed a little bit from their code. So this is kind of fun, and it's new. I just tried this the other day to see if it would work, and it did. So I'm going to go to Parks Canada here, and instead of that, I'm going to go to my course, Avenue. Okay, I'll go to my dashboard. Let's scroll down. I'm just actually going to check the chat too. I'm sorry. I hope people aren't saying, I can't understand you. I can't hear you. Okay, that looks like questions for later. So perfect. Thank you, everyone. Sorry, I'm going to return back to what I was doing. I'm going to go into my course here. So what I've got now is I've got another course, the same course opened. And what I did is I went back to that summary where I knew I had a YouTube embed code. And I thought to myself, maybe I can borrow from that code. So let's just give this a moment to load. Okay, I'm going to edit that topic section where I had embedded that YouTube video. I come down below. I'm going to expand the toolbar. And I looked at this embed code. And I saw here, okay, this part with width and height looked pretty good to me. So what I did is I just copied from here this web share part, allow full screen, width and height 315. And I stopped here just before that closed bracket. Okay, so I didn't want the closed bracket because I have used the W3 schools to learn a little bit about HTML code. And this is one of the things I learned. Those brackets are what start and end what are called tags, or the information that you're giving the codes. So I'm going to copy this little bit from this YouTube code. So I've just pressed Control-C on my keyboard to copy that little bit of code. I'm going to go back over here where I'm working with the Google Doc. And right here at the end, before that, so in the same place, right before that end bracket closes, before the open bracket that says end iframe close bracket, and I'm going to paste that in there. Now, I did some tinkering and I found out that 800 was actually a really nice size. So I'm going to change that width to 800. Oh, not 8,000, 800. I'm going to leave that as is, and then I'm going to save and display. And you'll see now we've got the same Google document, but it's actually displaying really well. And we've got a scroll bar to scroll through it. It's 800 pixels wide. It looks really nice on the page. And then if I go back to my student view, and we have Maria go back to her course, she scrolls down. There's the ones that were from before, but you'll see down here, Google Doc. Oh, have to click refresh, refresh, Google Doc, Padlet example. Oh, wait, did I put it somewhere else? Oh, I guess I just did it here. So embed Google document, click on that. Here it is. And so for Maria, it looks very nice. It looks excellent. So if you have something you want to put in a quiz, a reading, for example, you could embed it at the top of the quiz in the first question using the editing toolbar. You could embed it in an assignment description as the reading text before they do the assignment. Whatever the case is, Google Docs do embed quite well, but there's that little tweak to change. Now, that little tweak to change, I've included that in the document, and I'm also going to share it with you now in the chat, because that was really important. So if anyone wants it, it's now in the chat. You can copy that. I'm even going to change it to 800 for you. So this is the Google Docs kind of tweak where we can make the Google document display much better. So if you copy and paste that, you'll have that there, or you can return to this video and see how I got it from that YouTube video if you'd like to see that again. Okay, I'm seeing that it's 2:15. I do love to talk. I talk a lot. So I'm going to keep moving along here. Where am I now? Oh, this is Maria. Back to my tab. Okay. PowerPoint, Google Forms, and Google Docs, also showing you how to get that embed code for Google Docs. I circled there just to remind you that you will have to allow it to publish it to the web to get that embed code if you'd like to do that. After that, Google Maps. Okay, I'm going to go a little bit faster now, just showing you how to find these things. So in my course here, Embedding on Avenue, I'll go back down. I want to have time for questions. I can do this in 5 minutes, I think. So when I scroll down here, you'll see here, oh, the Twitter feed too. Let's go to the Google Maps blog task. So this is an activity that you could do if you have a Google Map embed code, and I'll show you how to get that in a moment. You put it in here in a page resource, which is what this is. You could add a blog menu to the side where students can add an entry about this page, give them some instructions, write directions from our school to the farmers market we visited last week. You embed the Google map. And interestingly, students can actually use the Google map. They can scroll around, they can look, they can find the streets, they can scroll in. So it actually works when you embed it into the page like that. So it's really, really interesting. And it's a great way to kind of start an activity. Again, this could be an assignment, this could be a quiz. In this case, I've just given them a blog task where they have to add an entry about this page. Now, to get that Google map, we go over to Google Maps. Here you'll see that I've searched for the Butchert Gardens, which is a beautiful place out here near where I live. Once you've got your search done, and it's got you the point on the Google map, you come to the side and you'll see Share. When I click on Share, I can send a link or a URL, share a link with someone, or I can embed a map. And there's some really cool kind of options here. I can just take it as it is and click copy HTML. Now I've got that code and I can paste it in anywhere I have an editing toolbar in my course. But you can make some different choices. You could have a much smaller map. And this is what you would have seen in the block on the side of my course page. If you want to have, you could have a larger map. So a bigger map. Maybe you want to use this in a page resource or an assignment. I find that the medium displays well within a course page. So that's what I used in my example. So once I've selected medium, I can then click copy HTML and I can go back to my course. And in the settings for the course page, you'll see here I've got my instructions in the description. And then in the page content, expand that toolbar, click on the HTML toggle, and you'll see this is what the Google Map HTML code looks like. And down here is the width and height, which I could change, but I had selected medium, and so it did it for me. Okay, so that's a Google Map. After Google Maps, I wanted to show you today the weather widget for blog tasks. This is fantastic. There's a website out there, and it's in the document that I'm going to share with you afterwards, so don't worry about the web address. But when you come here to the Government of Canada weather link, you scroll down the page and you'll recognize this from the course. Come down below, you select your region. Let's say I chose Manitoba, for example. When I click go, it's going to give me all the cities. Let's go with... Is it in here? Oh, I was looking, there's a place called Miami, Manitoba, but that's for another day. Let's put Steinbach. Okay, once I've chosen my province, my city, I click display code, and there's the code. Now, this one doesn't have a copy button, so I have to highlight the code and then Control-C to copy it. And then I can go back to my course, and anywhere in the course, in a block, an HTML block to be specific, an HTML block, I could paste that code and it would look like this for the weather in the Southern Gulf Islands. Or if I wanted to give activities a student, I could use the weather widget in a page. And again, like the map, give them a blog task where they have to add an entry and write about today's weather. This is live time real weather. It's always updating. Every time they click refresh on the page, it will give them the current weather. So that's what it looks like once I've embedded it into the page, just like I did for the other resources. Okay, I'm going to go back now just because the time is ticking. Remember, this document will be shared with you. Twitter feeds, you can also embed those. There's a special page for that. Again, I'm going to take this and I'm going to actually paste that into the chat just so that you can have that. This is where you go to get an embed code for Twitter. Come down here, you can put in a Twitter URL, for example, at Paul Carter Van. Okay, when I've put in at Paul Carter Van and I click on the arrow, it's going to give me display options. I like the embedded timeline version, so I'll click on that. And then I can just click here to copy the code, but if I wait a moment, it will display it for me. So I'll copy that code. It has been copied. I return to my course, and just for the example, as we're quickly running out of time, I'm going to scroll to the very bottom of my navigation drawer, click on Add a Block. I'm going to choose the HTML block because we're working with HTML code here. I'll give my course page a moment to reload. Scroll down to the bottom underneath my CBC, RSS feeds, and all the other blocks in my course. New HTML block. I'm going to configure the new HTML block. I'll come in here. I'm just going to quickly type Twitter so we know what this is about. And in the content, expand that toolbar. Click on the HTML. Get rid of that if you want, or keep it if you don't mind that line. Paste in that Twitter timeline code. I can change the HTML back. Now here, you don't see what it will look like, but wait for it when we save the changes. For this example, I'm going to return to my student Maria. And in Maria's course, I'm going to click on refresh. Actually, before I click refresh, I'm going to scroll to the bottom of the page where you'll see level up is the last block that was there. I click refresh. And now below level up, you'll see Twitter. Oh, that didn't display properly. I did something not right. Let me go back to Twitter. What did I do? Twitter buttons, embedded timeline.
Paul, it did display. It was displaying when you left.
Oh, I was too quick. Okay, yeah. I just jumped too fast. There we go. Thank you. Sometimes it'll flash the code that you saw in the HTML editor before you see. But here it is. Thank you very much for that. My Twitter feed is here now in my course, which would be very boring for my students, but you could choose any feed that you would like. Now, I'll return quickly here to the PowerPoint demonstration. Okay, so a few different activity types where you could use these things. You'll see here Flipgrid. If you have Flipgrid, you can embed your videos from Flipgrid. The instructions are there to help you with that. And in the course, just to show you what these things look like, and then I'll take some questions. Weather widget we looked at, the Google Map 2, those could be blog tasks, or they could be in a quiz or an assignment. A Google Map assignment might look like this. Write directions to help a friend go from the market to the park. Use the map below to help. So the map below is there. If I go to my student view, which I should have done to start, I click on embedding an avenue, come down to that activity, Google Map assignment. So when my student comes in and clicks on, oh, well, I'll edit submission because I've already submitted, the map is still there for them. So they don't lose that map when they're doing their submission. So the map is part of it when they're in an assignment. Same in a quiz. If you embed it in an information question at the top of the quiz page, the students will be able to access it throughout the quiz. So I'll go back again. Quick couple more examples here just to show you. Flipgrid video quiz. I've just embedded a video in a quiz, not too exciting. Field class field trip forum ideas. This is a forum that has a Google map embedded in it. So helping to plan a field trip. Students could do that in a forum. And the class cookbook wiki, this one's kind of fun. I embedded a YouTube video of cooking terms, cooking verbs, and then the students are going to add to the class cookbook. So I'm sorry, that was a little quick, a little fast, but I just wanted to get everything in so that we'd have time for a few questions at the end. So let me go back into my course now. PowerPoint will make things official. Useful links, this is all there for you, everything that I've shown you today, and I will share that with you with the YouTube link when the video is ready. On the next one here is Q&A. All right, so I'm going to open the chat now and go up to the top and just check on things. Sunny Toronto, it's cloudy out here today, but we'll take some rain if we can get it. Okay. Oh, thank you, everyone. Those are some nice comments. Is it a label? Yes, it is. Oh no, it wasn't a label actually. If that was about the beginner help block, that's a block. But the label, maybe we were thinking about the topic section summary. Not to worry though, you could do this in a label as well. So anything that I've shown you today, you could do it in a label, HTML block, quiz, assignment, any of the activity types. Okay. Embed window for Quizlet is small. Does it enlarge? Yes, that was when I had it as a URL with embed. So with Quizlet, probably better. Oh, I'm sorry, you can't see what I'm reading. Oops. There was a question. That embed window for Quizlet is small. Does it enlarge? When I embedded the Quizlet as a URL, it was quite small. But if you get the embed code for the Quizlet and put it in a page or some other activity type, it's a much better view as we saw. So thank you for that question. And the next one here, do you know where that information in the Google Docs publishes to? I didn't really follow up on that. As I said, this was new to me. So when you put a Google Doc, when you embed it into your course, it requires you on Google Documents to publish it to be able to get the embed code. In my mind, I wasn't too worried about it because it's just a sample document I'm using for the webinar. But that would be a good thing to look into is where is it published? Or does that just mean it's published and anyone with the link can access it, which would be my guess. But I would suggest if you want to use Google Docs in the way that I showed you today, to do a little bit of research into what that means that it's been published. I really don't think there's that big an audience for our vocabulary lists for our students or whatever we're sharing with them, but it is good to check into that. And I'm sorry, I don't know the answer. When students do an embedded activity on Avenue, does the time spent on it count as time spent on Avenue? The attendance register will record that they opened the page, let's say if it's a page resource, but the time they spent doing the Quizlet, it won't be logging that, it won't be recording that. Now, that said, if you embed a Quizlet in a page resource, the logs can show you that they opened the page resource, and then going to Quizlet will show you, did they do the Quizlet? The amount of time they spent, you may have to guesstimate in that case, or maybe looking at what their next click was to give an idea for when they moved on to the next activity. But no, embedded activities, they're an external website that you've embedded into your course. Any information that's being recorded by, say, a Google form or a Quizlet, you'd have to go back to Quizlet or Google Forms to get that information or find out if they did the activity. I hope that answers the question. Depending what you did, you could embed something in a quiz, and then as they're doing the quiz, the time they're spending on it will be counted by Avenue. So in that case, it would count, depending how it's set up and what you're doing. Oh, there's some really nice comments there. Thanks, everybody. That's really sweet. Too fast at the end. Yes, I agree. That was too fast at the end. It also has to do with kids that need picking up from school. So thank you for saying that. Please remember this will be recorded so you can watch everything again. Can we tag the Google form to the ePortfolio? No, definitely not. I'm sorry, you won't be able to do that. Again, the Google form is actually working in Google Forms, and you'll have to go there to get the information from that form. So if it's something you wanted to include in the ePortfolio, you'd have to use your Google Forms page to get the responses and maybe an Excel spreadsheet, for example, and then you could upload that to the ePortfolio. I'm not a big fan of Google Forms. I'd rather personally set up something in Avenue myself, but just for the example today, I did want to show that if you have existing Google Forms that you use regularly, you can embed them to just facilitate your learner's experience. It may complicate the teacher's experience, but remember, we're trying to keep those students grounded. So that's kind of the point of it all. Some nice thank yous there. Thank you. Thank you. We'll be able to create an embedding webinar sandbox course for us to have access to these wonderful resources. All these resources are in the PDF that I'll be sharing with you after the session. And you can practice any of these things in your own course. And then if you have questions or want to share ideas with other teachers, the Avenue Teachers Only Forum would be the best place to do that. I see some more thank yous, and that is fantastic. Wow, we just hit 3 o'clock. Thank you, everybody. I'm going to stop my, oh, wait, sorry. If you want to contact me, there's my email address for project information, learnit2teach.ca, or you can follow us on Twitter, or you can embed our Twitter feed in your course page. Wouldn't your students just get nothing from that? So don't do that, embed something else. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. If anyone has any other questions they'd like to unmute now, that would be fine with me. I'm going to stop the share. I really appreciate everyone coming today. This will be published on YouTube, hopefully by tomorrow, if not tomorrow, the next day. And I'll send out a message in the Teachers Only forum to let you know that the YouTube video is up, and also to share with you the PDF with all the things that you saw today and all the links and all of those things. Okay. Thank you very much, everyone. I hope you all have a great rest of your day wherever you are across the country. I look forward to seeing you at our next Avenue webinar. Thank you very much again. Goodbye.